for the final out for the Cubs was because Chapman had already thrown in the previous 3 games before that, had thrown something like 100 pitches, which for a closer is a huge amount of pitches, especially 3 games in a row. So, he just there is a limit to how much these guys can do and still remain effective. And last year Chapman was at that point, and Giles probably was at that point. But now the Astros have, and like I said, now we're looking at Verlander, and if Verlander can go 8 innings, now you have Giles for the 9th inning. But it basically, the Astros season relies on Justin Verlander giving the Astros at least 7 solid innings tomorrow night.
Well, I have to say, I thought the Astros were a little more determined than the Dodgers. At the end of the game,
I don't know. To me, that's hard to measure.
Well, I just was based on the interviews they did afterwards with some of the players, and they just seemed. They were like, one of the guys, I forget who said it, said, let's play this game loose. And I think they did compared to the Dodgers. That's all.
I think that might have been Altuve or it might have been Springer. I don't even remember. It was so late I can barely remember stuff. But yeah, they talked about that. That was after they went down 4-0, and it's a good attitude. It's a tough attitude to have, but it's a good attitude to have because if you're down 4-0 to Clayton Kershaw, it's what else are you going to do? If you're going to get tight, then you're playing into his hands. So yeah, try to play loose. Try to chip away and see what you can do. But like I said, boom, home run, and it turned into a game again very suddenly. And that was I kept comparing it while it was going on. If you remember the wild card game with the Yankees in Minnesota, the Twins scored 3 runs in the first inning off Severino. And people, especially Yankee fans, were stunned. And I, Yankee fans I know were, this is over. I mean, this is insane. And it wasn't even the first inning was barely over.
Right.
And I said, I was talking people off the ledge. I'm like, look, there's 9 innings left. There's 8 innings left. Whatever. I mean, there's like plenty of baseball time left here. And people are like, oh, they suck. Going on, and then boom, Didi hits a 3-run home run. Game's tied, and I'm like, hey, what'd I tell you? It's a long way from. This is not. This isn't even close to being over yet. So, and that's what. Who I was most happy for was George Springer for the Astros center fielder.
Why is that?
Well, I'm assuming you remember the play where he came in. He tried diving for a ball.
Yeah,
I think it was Bellinger hit a line drive to center field, and he came charging in and tried to dive for it, and the ball skipped past him.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it wound up being a triple.
Right.
And it scored a run, and I don't even remember what inning it was. Let me look here. Again, trying to do quick math to figure this out. I think it was the 7th. That would have made it. Yeah, that would have made it 8-7 in the 7th. Well, Springer comes up and leads off the next inning. And that was against Morrow and hit a bomb. I mean, it went over the railroad tracks in center field.
Right.
I don't know what the distance was. It had to be 450 or 460.
There was some great homers last night.
He just crushed it. And I mean, I felt good for him, but at the same time, I was like, good, you owed your team a run after making that stupid play. He came nowhere close to that ball.
Right.
And you can't dive for a ball like that in a tie game when if it gets past you, it's going to cost your team a run. Plus, now you had a guy on third base. So it was a stupid play. I mean, I understand him. He's going for it. He wants to try to make a big play for his team, but you got to make a smart play. And that was not a smart play. Yeah.
We're gonna
but then immediately he made up for it.
We're going to take a break right now, brother. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 FM. Well, 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. Tim, you're at Twitter at
Real Tim Leonard.
Okay. Go.
Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing.
Check it out.
we found something out
Yeah.
I'm shocked about. Brandon, you get pedicure?
Yes, of course. My feet are always getting wet and dried up in socks and stuff like that.
First of all, I just want to put this in perspective. I cut my toenails once a year.
I've been wanting to get a manicure, but like I would feel weird to just go by myself. So maybe we can try it out. We
Yeah,
can
you
all
guys
go
go together. That's a no.
Not a shot.
Really? You wouldn't go?
No,
Mike, I'll take you up on that.
There you go.
There we
Two
go.
guys, no more than that.
No more than that.
No.
Okay.
If I
There
were
you
to
go.
do that, I'd want it to be a big group of guys.
I mean,
why
the
not?
thing is-
Let's all march in there. Just
Yeah,
like
let's
we're
all
here
march
for the
in there and be like,
pedicures.
3, 5, 4, bum. I'm here to get my nails done.
Yeah, testosterone.
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
There's always something new at the Voice of Nassau Community College.
We have a brand new Monday night lineup. At 5 p.m., catch the WHPC sports staff as they review the weekend and preview the evening in local and professional sports on the home stretch.
Then at 6, it's Revelations, where Steve K puts an emphasis on rare tracks and hidden gems from the genres of rock, blues, soul, folk, and jazz. Uwe Riggers keeps the German hit parade going at 7. And New York Polka Bob slides down to 8 p.m. with Polka Beat. Once again, it's the home stretch at 5,
Revelations at 6.
the German hit parade at 7, and Polka Beat at 8.
All from the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hey, have you seen DJ Solero?
No, why?
Well, he was supposed to be here right now to tell everyone about his show, The Rare Groove Session, but I can't find him anywhere.
I'll keep my eyes peeled. Maybe he went to get something to eat.
Food? He went to get food? I mean, who can eat at a time like this?
Relax. I'm sure everyone will figure out when they can listen to the most incredible music from the 60s and 70s that they may have not heard before.
But what if they can't? What if they never figure out when the Rare Groove Session is on? What happens then, huh? I don't want to live in a world where no one knows about the Rare Groove Session.
Hey guys, ready to tell everyone about RGS?
DJ Solero, where the have you been?
I was getting something to eat.
How can you eat at a time like this?
What are you talking about?
Don't mind her. Go ahead. Tell everyone when to listen.
Okay then, if you're looking to hear some mind-blowing music, check out the Rare Groove Session Friday nights at midnight on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
.3 WHPC, the Voice of Nassau Community College. From the press box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It goes up later on Spreaker and on iTunes as a podcast. And, Tim, last week we were talking about Joe Girardi, how he was going to get re-signed, and it didn't happen. What happened?
Yeah, oops.
It happens. I was with you on that. I thought, how can the Yankees not sign him? He turned a team that wasn't expected to do anything this year into a game away from the World Series. So why would you get rid of him unless there's a personal problem or a money problem?
Well, it basically became both. The one thing that we didn't know about Girardi was, I guess we did know it to a certain extent. Girardi's a pretty intense guy, and that much came over. If you watch the Yankee press conferences after the games, which now it used to be that the public never had any kind of access. Now those are all on video after games. It's part of the post game show.
Well, they need
interview.
programming. They need programming on any of the channels. It's not just
but
the Yes Network.
It's nice to see. It's nice for the fans to have that kind of access and that kind of behind the scenes look at what's going on. And, but if you're a fan and you watch Joe Girardi's post-game press conferences, it's not hard to see that he's kind of a tense guy or intense, tense, whatever, both. But that turned into his personality turned into kind of the biggest negative against him as far as his Yankee career. Now, from what I've heard from sources, the other issue that was going on here was that Girardi, his contract had expired, and obviously he was looking to negotiate a new deal. I heard he was looking for $7 million a year. Now,
isn't that what Joe Torre wanted back then? Was it 7?
Torre, I think he might have wanted 6 back then, but I mean, we're talking obviously several years ago.
Right.
But the Yankees at this point don't necessarily value managers to that extent, and they don't see the reason to spend $7 million a year on a manager when baseball metrics now kind of have estimated that even a really good manager might be worth 3 wins a year. And I don't think the Yankees are willing to pay $7 million for maybe 3 wins a year.
I hate to say it, brother. The Yankees are the most valuable franchise in Major League Baseball. An extra $1 million or $2 million is not going to hurt them.
Well, but if that $1 million or $2 million is being spent on a guy that you know for a fact is the best manager in baseball, then yes, I would agree with you. If it's being spent on a guy who is so intense that the Yankee brass feels like it's hurting their young players and it's not allowing them to develop to the fullest of their abilities, well, then that's a completely different story.
Well, what's he doing to the young players?
It's just a matter of his tension and intensity. Kind of, it's hard to quantify, but the manager's attitude and the manager's personality tends to become the team's personality. And basically what I'm reading and what I'm hearing is that the Yankees didn't want that intensity to kind of make the players tighter and to, just maybe distract them. I don't know if distract may be the best word, but just, they didn't want that to be the person. They want the players, especially the young guys, they want them to be loose and they want them just to be able to they have to continue to develop still. I mean, despite what everybody might think, Aaron Judge probably isn't a finished product yet. He still has developing to do, despite hitting 52 home runs this year. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to hit more home runs, but he's still a young hitter and he still has work to do in his game. So, and the same thing goes with Gary Sanchez, especially on the defensive side of the ball for Gary Sanchez. I was of the mindset that Girardi was a good manager for him in the sense that, all right, here's a guy who was a catcher, and he can help Sanchez become a better defensive catcher. The flip side of that is that Girardi made Sanchez's defensive woes an issue, a big issue. He benched him for a few games because of it, and basically said in public that if he doesn't get this straightened out, that we might have to send him down. Now, here's one of your best players, and to say something like that, it was obviously an issue. Gary Sanchez led the American League in pass balls, but to make it that big of an issue probably wasn't the best way to handle the situation.
Well, I can understand that. But then again, when does it get to the point where the players are indicating who they want or don't want as their manager?
Well, I don't. It's not that the players are indicating. When players finish the season, they do exit interviews, and I doubt any of them necessarily complained about Girardi and said, "Wow, this guy's really intense," or I don't know if I can play for this guy. But I think they ask questions, and they probably asked them questions more along the lines of, what do you think, what kind of job do you think Joe did this year? It's more roundabout questions as opposed to, well, do you think Joe's too intense? They probably ask him questions along the lines of, well, how did you think that Joe handled the season, or what do you think about Joe's personality going forward, or something not so specific, so that they're probably a little more free to talk about it. Because I think if you're talking to players and you're asking them, basically about the manager's job security and, what do you think, and do you want to play for this guy? I think players, for the most part, just kind of say, well, hey, he did a good job, and of course I like playing for him, and they're not going to rock the boat, and especially younger players. They're still trying to get their feet wet in the major leagues. Aaron Judge certainly 1 year into his career, or one year and a little bit into his career, isn't going to start making demands about managers.
No, yeah, good point.
So,
who do you?
That's where we're at.
And what did I say last week? That I said the Mets should have waited to see if Girardi did become available. I think Joe Girardi would be a very good person for the Mets if the Mets hadn't signed.
Mickey Callaway.
Mickey Callaway. I'm thinking Mickey Mouse for some reason.
No.
Mickey Callaway. Now, mind you, Mickey's going to be good with the pitchers. God knows we need that, but we already thought we had a good pitching staff, even though that last year was a disaster. So, I might have waited. I personally think Girardi might go to the Nationals.